Hello my loyal companions, welcome back to the channel. It's about time I updated my settings video to show you guys exactly what I'm currently running within Rogue Company. I haven't done this since they changed the Crosshair settings as well, so that will be included as well. This video will just go over the best settings I find personally for me on my new controller, how I use it to optimize my FPS, how I use my Crosshair, and other things that you guys seem to be really curious about. If you do go on to enjoy the video or you appreciate the educational content coming up from the channel, make sure you drop a like and subscribe. For now though, let's get into it. Heading on over to the settings, then we're going to go over each of these different tabs and explain to you exactly why I'm using each one and what they all do. Starting with the display settings, then there are more options available here for PC players specifically, just because there are a few more optimized things that you can do on PC as opposed to console, but I'll go over them nonetheless, and this will be sort of where your FPS and improving your frame rate is going to come into it. So the screen mode I use is windowed full screen. I prefer to use this over full screen just because of how often I have to tap in and out of my monitors. If you are just using one monitor or you don't stream or do content, then I think going full screen mode would be better for your frames. So do run full screen unless you need to run windowed for whatever reason. The resolution is going to be your base resolution of your monitor, VSync, motion blur, and ADS blur, all going to be off. Brightness is preferential to whatever you have best for your monitor. And you're going to want your save frame to be 100%. If you turn it down, it just reduces exactly how far it is within. It's really not worth it. It's only if you have a bit of a wonky monitor that this really comes into practice. Colorblind settings are obviously going to be for if you are colorblind and need any of the different colorblind settings available. For me, I use none. This section here, though, is going to be your FPS optimizable settings, the things that you want to be changing depending on how good your PC is. Personally, I think most things can be run on low without too much of a hitch. This is personally what I run. I run everything low except for anti-aliasing and visual effects, which I put in medium. The reason I put these in medium are simply because I think it makes the skins and the game and the characters pop out a little bit more, and it's just a little bit more pleasing to my eyes. There is no reason you can't run this in low. It's absolutely fine. It doesn't change your game performance at all, but personally, I prefer this in medium. There is currently a bug with shadows where having it in medium, high, or ultra can affect some things within the game, but that is going to be patched really soon, so do not worry about that. It is better to have these in low for frame rate. I know a lot of people also talk about view distance having this higher. I've never really found a reason to put it higher within this game. I know I even said before, running in ultra is best. You don't need to. There's not any distance that you can't see by having it in low, so you may as well save a few more rendering frames by having it there. Going on then over to the audio, I am a big person with audio. I love games that have audio customization. Whilst Rogue Company doesn't have a lot, there are a few things that you can maybe add in just to help yourself. Master volume is basically whatever loud volume you want for all of this to mix through. Music volume I personally put on 0. I don't think there's any need for the distraction of music while you're in-game or lobby. Sound effects volume should be maxed out as high as possible because this is going to be everything from your footsteps to your gunshots to everything you may need to know, and voice chat volume at a comfortable level for you. Personally running voice chat off most of the time, and I have my mute mode set to voice chat, quips, and communications, which means if I choose to mute somebody in game, it mutes all of these things, including their quips and emotes and things that I don't want to hear. So you can pick whichever one is best for you, whether it be voice chat only, voice chat and quip. Personally, if I'm muting someone, I don't want to hear a word from you. And 3D headphones, I wouldn't really recommend you ever doing this unless you are familiar with it. It's really not worth it. It doesn't change too much unless you have a headset for it. Controls though, this is the bit you all really care about. I have hold to crouch, hold to sprint, auto sprint, and auto shoulder swap, which is a new feature by the way, you may not have seen, all off. I am more than comfortable to toggle these things all by myself, but if you're an M&K player, I know a lot of people use auto sprint. Auto shoulder swap will be a really good one for new players who haven't quite mastered the shoulder swap mechanic yet. And hold to crouch, I personally prefer toggle options. Otherwise, I'm holding the button too long and it doesn't really help with crouch spamming. My mouse settings are absolute garbage. Please don't use these at all. I am not a mouse and keyboard player. I've been considering testing it out and trying to do like a series of it maybe, but my mouse and keyboard settings are not optimized at all really for what I want. The controller settings though, the ones you're probably most interested about, what my sensitivity is and how I have optimized it. I am using a new controller. I'm using an Xbox Elite Series 2 controller that I just recently bought, and it took me some time to get used to the sensitivity, but I've found something I'm pretty comfortable with. In terms of what I'm actually using, my horizontal sensitivity is a 5, my vertical sensitivity is a 3. I have this slightly lower just because there's not a lot of height within Rogue Company, so there's not a lot of vertical adjustment I feel is necessary to do, so I have it slightly lower just so that my headshot aim doesn't differ too much. When it comes to ADS sensitivity, I run 47 and 35. If you don't know what this means, it's essentially a percentage of these values up here. So this one acts as 47% of 5, and this one 35% of 3. That's how that works. If you guys want a video going over how to find your best sensitivity, let me know in the comments, because it did take me some time to find my optimal sensitivity here with this new controller. So it might be a worthwhile video to help some of you who aren't quite sure in case this doesn't work for you. So let me know if you want to see that video down in the comments, but this is what I'm currently running. My dead zone, which is mostly to deal with stick drift, is set at 0.1, 0.1. I think that's a fairly standard thing. Unless you want to boost it ever so lower if you have really good controller thumbsticks, or slightly higher if you are getting some stick drift from your controller. Acceleration boost and acceleration boost multiplier, I run it at 50% and 3 respectively. I have always run this within the game, and I find it really awkward to change from it, so this is what I generally prefer. It helps me do a 180 turn pretty quickly at the rate I'd want, so I am happy with that how it is. My ADS mode is set to hold rather than toggle or even both, which I think is really weird. So hold is the preferential one there for me. My scope sensitivity, though, are set to 55 and 45. These are for your scoped weapons, such as the Aaron or either of the snipers, and again, works off that same percentage system that I spoke about with ADS. I do not invert my Y-axis, and I do personally have vibration off. I have learned recently when the game kind of breaks and I lose vibration, it sucks for me to play without vibration. I'm so used to it. So I do have vibration on, but that is preferential. As for the reload to interact button, I personally have press, which shortens the time for both. It does cause some issues with reloading and picking up weapons sometimes, so you may want to opt for one of these other options if that is really frustrating you. But personally, I like the fast-paced nature of the press to interact and press to reload. It means I'm not having to hold my buttons at any point to get any of these animations off. Gyro, I haven't messed with since I played on Switch that one time. It's not my area of expertise, but this is what I was running. If you are a Switch player, this is what I was using. I think I just stole one of my mod settings for this one. For bindings, I actually haven't messed with any of my bindings necessarily because I don't play on M&K. It's really not worth me going into. I actually haven't even put in paddles yet on my new controller, even though they do have them equipped. If I were to map paddles, I would personally use 3 paddles. I would use one for roll, one for jump, and one for the quick melee, because I feel like quick melee on controller is one of the most awkward buttons to use. Gameplay is going to be a pretty important tab as well. My quick cast is set to on, which essentially means when I click to use a grenade, it will instantly use it. It will throw it straight away, or if I hold it to start the cook time of it. If you don't have quick cast on, so you have quick cast off, what happens is when you press your grenade button, you will equip your grenade, and then you'll have to use your triggers to start using that animation, which isn't particularly what I like. Auto pickup is a must-have on, guys. You want to be picking up lethals and the bomb by just running over them, so please have this on. Language, English, preferential. Hold time and double press time, I have to do very minimum to allow me to get that off again as quickly as possible, so have this as low as possible for you. Quips on, team comms on, that doesn't really matter. HUD display is going to be an important area also. You want display damage numbers on, and personally I prefer accumulative, so I know exactly how much damage I've done to someone. If I hit someone with, say, 3 bullets for 11 each, I know that is 33 because it tells me on screen rather than me having to do the math in my head. So I would recommend having both of those on. I have my FPS counter on just so I know when I'm losing any frames, but again, that's preferential and only available on PC. Crosshairs, you guys really want to know about crosshairs since they added to the game, and I have adjusted mine slightly, so it is worth you having a look, but it's pretty standard to the base. It's just a little bit smaller. My preferential crosshair color is magenta. Personally, I just think that one kind of looks nice. I do not think your crosshair color matters that much. There are some that stand out, potentially more than others, but personally, I don't think it is that big of a deal. My crosshair height is set to 7 and my width set to 2, and for me, that offers quite a short, close, narrow crosshair. That means I feel a little bit more accurate. When the bloom starts happening, you see the dashes of the crosshair pulse a little bit. They're not too obnoxious. So this is a good medium for me. It's quite a small crosshair as opposed to quite a big one that I know some other people use. As for shotgun reticle, again, I've gone for small because I just prefer the smaller, sort of less obstructive vibes from my crosshairs. So that is what I'm running for crosshairs because I know a lot of you have been interested. The last tab is social, and this is just going to be your region. I flip around between Europe and NA East, depending on who I'm playing with and what kind of day it is. Me, I do not disturb on because you guys do not stop inviting me. I love you guys, but please, no spam invite. That, though, guys, is going to go over all my settings within Rogue Company. Again, if you want to see that video of how to find your perfect sensitivity, do let me know in the comments down below, and I will make that video for you because I think it could be pretty worthwhile for some of you who are really unsure. But if you just want to copy mine and get an idea for what I use, that is going to be the one. And again, my controller is the Xbox Elite Series 2, which does have some other customizable options, which I haven't actually really messed with. If you get this brand new out of the packet, that's pretty much a good sensitivity if you like this sort of medium sensitivity. The only thing I have adjusted is my thumbstick tension ever so slightly. I've put up 1 notch on my aim stick. So if you're an Xbox Elite Series player, that may be the one for you. Okay then, guys, that takes us to the end of the video. And if you did enjoy, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. You can also come follow me on twitch.tv/RADTHARGAMING, see live gameplay commentaries. I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, and I have a second channel, More Radthar, which I'll be posting some vlog type content to very, very soon. All the links you're going to need in the description below. But for now, guys, I hope you have a fantastic day. And as always, remember, be loyal, be brave, be relentless. And I'll catch you in the next video.